Muddy Waters, Little Walter, and Howlin' Wolf. Them, I learned so much from them. And this is before the British guys came in, which they'll tell you now they was listening to me. And I didn't have big records out there. And they was picking me out, playing this stuff behind Muddy, Sonny Boy, Wolf, or some of them like that. And I didn't know it. And then they give me a little 45 like First Time I Met the Blues or Walking Through the Woods. And I didn't know like Hendrix, Beck, and Eric, and Keith, and all of them was listening to that. I'm like, I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just copying Muddy, BB, and T-Bone, whoever I'd heard, to try to steal some licks from. And that's some of my most joyful days. That was I didn't play with Muddy and them. They was living. And then finally in '58, BB King came here, and somebody told him about me, and I looked out in the audience. I didn't even have a record out then, and all I was doing playing his stuff, Muddy stuff, and everybody else. And I'm like, it looks like BB King, and I'm sitting up there trying to sing Sweet Little Angel, and that's because he made Sweet 16 was the big one, but he had one called Sweet Little Angel first, and I was so in love with that.
Two-string wood guitar.
I think all of them are special. You know, I like going back. If you go back, you know somebody must have liked it, you know, there, and that makes a difference. You know, if you're invited back. When I was coming up, my mother, I don't overdo it. When I was coming up, my mother used to say, if me and you would play together this Sunday, and I'd be at your parent house, and we'd be out there playing whatever kind of little game it is. When we come in, she said, now don't go back up there next Sunday because they get tired of looking at you. So I use my music the same way, but it's overjoyed for somebody to say, you know, I want you back next year. Then that means you know you must have did a well enough job for them to like you, well enough to support you to come back again.
My sister would scream.
This record is 97 to 98% new stuff. All of my other CDs and whatsoever was, I'd say, 70 to 80% of old songs that was trying to get me to redo better than the original. I was close friends with Hendrix before he died. I'm still close friends with Eric Clapton, all those guys who sold billions of records. And as I got to know them, they said they just went in the studio and played. You know, they didn't have anybody in there giving them instructions how to play. I've been had this all of my life, man. I go in the studio, you have a guy, a producer, including Willie Dixon. You know, I'd have a song and they say, well, it ain't strong enough. You need another line in it. And the line they would put in there would be like, if you wrote a song, say, I used to love you, don't say I used to love you, just say I used to be with you, which is the same, almost the same thing. Then they would take the song from it like he wrote it. So the thing is still there. So what I did, I got this kid, and Tom Hambridge, and we went down in Nashville, and I had to talk to the record company to give me a shot at it. And I'm just waiting because I think we got some pretty good stuff. Everybody who have heard some of the rough mix on it thinks there's some pretty good songs. Well, there's a lot of things I'm doing now I don't think I could do it without them. You know, it's a great, they're about the best you ever seen. I done got so hooked on them, I'm lost without them, man. And I'm not pulling your leg with this, man. If I go in and they don't have it, I'm complaining, what's the matter? You know, and especially you go into some of the other countries, you know, and I'm like, get me my Shure microphone, man. At least I got something I know going to work. I used to go outside, and one night in Buffalo, New York, I had 150 feet, and I just got on the city bus. It was at the corner, you know, and I had to make him stop before he stretch it out and break it. So I was out in San Francisco, and the guy saw me with this long wire, and he came in with a little gadget, and he put it on top of the amplifier. You had to dial it like a radio and put it exactly there, and I couldn't go that far with it anyway. And he brought it to me before Shure, and he come and said, well, I'll be there because this is working, you know, and it really worked while he was there, while we was rehearsing that day. And then when I went to play, I was playing for a bank downtown, and then when I plugged it up to do the show and everybody was standing there waiting, I didn't get nothing. He snatched it out, and I haven't heard from him since. Shure got a hold to it, and that's about the time everybody was coming up with the idea of the wireless, and I'm very happy with the progress they made on it, and the way their mics and wireless work is just perfect.
I give the little ones my guitar.
John Muir, is a blues guy. He told me when I first met him, he said, man, I wanted to be, you know, Hendrix and Stevie, and every time I picked up a magazine, they was mentioning you. And he was in Atlanta, and he said every time he got a chance to see me, because I used to play that Shane Park or something there, because when I finished my show, I'm gone, you know, and he said, I never did get a chance to meet you. But him and, you know, Johnny Lang and all these people like that. But I got a new one for you, man. He's 80 years old, and Shure better go get him, because I think he's on Oprah's show tonight, today or this morning. And I think he turned 9 because he came to the stage this past Saturday night in Massachusetts. And when I run into somebody at 9 years old and they got a guitar and he had this polka dot bandana on when his dad first brought him, and I'm like, who is that? And he had this guitar and he was like looking at to say, let me hit a note with you so I can learn something. So I called him up and he plugged up, and I hit one note, he hit it, and I hit two, and I'm like, say, I'll run away and leave you now, you know. Shoot, man. I never left him yet, man. So I just picked him up and said, I got to let somebody know who you are. So I told his dad, you know, we need to start him now, because he'd be a big help to the blues. Because if you turn on your television now, man, and your music television, radio, you know, if you ain't young and good looking, you're not getting on television no more, man. So he may be a boost in the blues like Stevie and the rest of those guys did for Muddy and all the rest of them.